So we hear a lot of creatives talk about flow. And if you write or you paint or engage in any kind of creative activity, you know that you've felt that flow before. And we know from our experience that it's not something that's always present. Sometimes it goes away. But what if I told you that if you could just understand the mechanisms behind this mysterious force, you would be able to always get yourself back into flow whenever you step out of it. See, the trouble with people talking about flow is that it remains this kind of amorphous and undefined thing. It's this mysterious force that we just stumble upon and not something that can be manifested. But I'm going to prove to you today that creative flow is a cycle. And if you understand the components of that cycle, you can ensure that that flow keeps going on and on forever. This deals with three major components that I'm going to break down for you in this video. And there's a lot to unpack in this process. And before we do that, I just want to give a quick shout out to subscribe to my channel if you are creative or a repressed creative looking to express yourself. The resources you're going to find here on this channel are going to help you really embrace and start claiming your creativity. So be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell so you're notified when I upload new content like this. And also, if you're on Instagram, you can follow me at awaken.creators on there as well for weekly doses of inspiring content. And now we'll go into the cycle of creative flow. I'll break it down for you on paper. I'm going to give you a visual and we'll just go through this step by step together. And I guarantee after you understand this cycle, your life is going to be forever changed and you'll never run out of inspiration again. Let's go. So a quick bit of background about how I came into know this information. Almost 2 years ago now, I was suicidal. I was an alcoholic. I was depressed, taking medication, and understanding the value of my creativity and starting to put energy towards it is what saved my life, no doubt. And I believe that a lot of people who repress their creative urges through, needing to be responsible or practical or thinking that they need to, can fall into that trap of being extremely dissatisfied with life. So finding this new part of myself, or really old part of myself that I'd been ignoring and bringing it to the surface, I felt like I was starting to get a lot of support from the universe. One of the pieces of support that I received very early on was an image of a triangle. And at each point of the triangle was a different aspect of the creative manifestation process. I'll put an image up here of the early drawings of this. I scribbled onto a whiteboard at the time, and also in journals and things. But as I began Awaken Creators as a way to help other people who were in a similar situation as myself, so much time had passed that this cycle had really expanded for me. It had grown into something bigger than that basic triangle. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. It's a 3-element process. And in between each element, you'll see there's a different vortex of energy that you're going to move through along the way. Now, it's easier if I just draw this out for you. So I'm going to get really high tech and I'm going to draw on a big white sheet of a sketch paper for you so you can see. Now, you might be familiar with the trilogy of mind, body, and spirit. That is the basis for the cycle of creative flow. So, the foundation of the cycle is mind and body. This is you, right? You've got your mind, you've got your body, and This is usually where people are most of the time. They're kind of bouncing back and forth between this. They have a thought, they put it into action through their body. What a lot of people are missing, or the part that feels very mysterious, is the spirit part, but it's present nonetheless. So spirit crowns the whole thing and exists here. And the cycle moves in a counter-clockwise direction. So, at the center of this, I forget what they call this, with the three circles here. I know it's not a Vesic Pisces, but it's something similar to that. But at the center of this is the flow. This is that magical place that everybody's trying to get into, that we dip into a lot of times naturally as creative people, but we don't understand the mechanism behind it. And so when we flop out of it, it's hard to figure out how to get back into it. And that's what I'm going to help you understand today. So once you understand the components that are working here, you can see which one is missing and you can implement it into your process. And that will get you back into the center. Because it's never just two elements, it's always three: mind, body, and spirit. Okay, so the spaces between the two elements at a time, I call these vortexes. These vortexes of energy are where things happen. So between the mind and the spirit is inspiration. That's something that people are really familiar with, if I can spell inspiration, as creatives, right? You're just kind of sitting around. You're feeling very open to everything, and boom, an idea comes in. Thoughts start swirling around in your head. What's happening here is you've got a marriage between mind and spirit. Spirit has essentially impregnated your mind with an idea. And when people ask writers or creatives where ideas come from, this, I believe, is what's happening. Spirit is actually giving you this idea or unveiling it to your inner mind. Now, in order to allow this inspiration to come, there's a threshold that has to be crossed that's right here. And that threshold is to receive. So we have to always be in a state of receiving in order to get the downloads and information we need from spirit. There's another threshold you'll notice as it crosses into the mind, and that threshold, or really what it could be is a potential barrier, is to perceive. Now, I don't know who said it, but if you're part of the law of attraction community or any kind of information that talks about how your mind is this powerful force and then everything begins in the mind, you know that, and you've probably heard that you can only believe that which you can perceive. So in order to fully obtain this inspiration, this inspiring idea, we have to be able to perceive of it. This is where a lot of people can get blocked because they have a lot of negative thoughts and negative beliefs that put up a wall there. And so spirit wants to bring us this inspiration, but it can't, because we can't perceive of it being a possibility. So again, if you are a repressed creative and you can't possibly perceive of yourself as a writer or an artist, how can spirit give you inspiration to do creative works? It can't enter your mind. You're not allowing it, you're blocking it. So those are some of the elements there. Now, at the crux of each joining together of the vortex is what I like to call a choice point. And that choice point always starts with surrender. And we can get into that in a different video about surrendering, but it's a critical piece of the puzzle that I think a lot of our society ignores. All right, so that's inspiration. That's how spirit impregnates your mind with an idea. Light bulb goes off. You're able to perceive of it because you're open to and you're surrendering to the idea that you could be more than you think, or that a possibility could be possible, and that inspiration comes into your mind. Now, it can sit here in your mind. So the parts that are not touching each other, I like to call badlands. These are places you can get stuck and stagnate in. So a lot of times you'll have people just sitting only in the mind, and they won't be able to receive inspiration, nor will they be able to move on to the next vortex, which is manifestation. Now, manifestation is the joining of the mind and the body. You have in your mind a idea, and you have to bring it forth into your reality. And in order to do that, you need to use your body. So for instance, using the example earlier of an artist being inspired, they've received from spirit this idea, and now they have to pick up their paintbrush, and they have to begin to paint on their canvas, or they have to pick up their keyboard and they have to start typing as a writer. That's you using your body. You're marrying the thought in your mind with the body, and you're manifesting in the 3D. Now again, remember there's activation points here or walls that can occur to stop you from moving into this next vortex. And on the side of the mind, it can be to conceive. Now, to conceive and perceive are very similar, and those are blockages that often keep people stuck in the mind badlands. If you can't conceive of yourself as a writer, or you can't conceive of the possibility of you being creative, or you being able to achieve what you want, then it's never going to move into the manifestation. You're going to block it. So these are walls, essentially, that are going to keep you from keep you stuck in the mind. That's where anxiety comes in, or just feeling depressed, or you don't feel like you can possibly get out of your situation, or you feel so, it's like over-analysis paralysis, basically, and you can't move. Well, if you're stuck in the mental badlands, what you need to do is work on these walls. You need to work on your ability to perceive and conceive of possibilities, which is going to require a lot of work in terms of negative thought process, dismantling old programming, emotional baggage cleaning. You're really just going to have to dive deep into your psyche and pull out the blocks that are keeping you from moving into manifestation, and that are keeping you from receiving inspiration. Now, on the other side of this, you have achieve. Now, you've conceived of the idea, you've moved into manifestation, you've painted your canvas, now you've achieved, right? You've gotten that inspired thought, and you've moved it through your physical body, through your mind, through your physical body, and into the physical world. That's achievement. But if you notice, achievement also makes a wall on this side. So a lot of people can get stuck in the body as well. And that's where you just think all you have to do is be productive. This is where burnout happens, in this badlands. Because people are pushing really, really hard. They're not allowing their, we'll get into it in just a second, but they're not allowing their mind to kind of feed them new manifestations. They're focused solely and completely on achieving through body, and they're not allowing spirit in, and they're not allowing the mind in. So if you're stuck in the body, You're probably not very connected to your spirit, your intuition, and you're also probably not very connected to your inner thought processes and aren't seeing where you're being blocked constantly by your thought. Again, there's a choice point here of surrender to allow and believe that this inspired idea you have been given can be achieved in the physical realm. When you believe that, your body and your mind can work together to bring it into creation. Now, as the cycle continues, you've achieved. Now what do you need to do? Most people stop here. They stop here and they start spinning their wheels. And they start getting burnt out. They've received the idea, they've conceived of it, they've produced it, and now they're like, now what do I do? Or they never stop and take a break and they constantly just keep pushing. And again, they burn out. Well, the next part of the process here, the next vortex point that you have to move into is restoration. Restoration is the marriage of the body and spirit. If any of you know tarot, I akin this to the Four of Swords card. And if you're not familiar with it, you can go look at a Four of Swords tarot card to get a visual image of what I'm talking about here by restoration. It's a resting of the mind. It's allowing your body to get back in tune with its natural state of being, not just achieving and pushing all the time. But in order to get into that, the first block that you have to move through, or first kind of threshold you have to move through, is relief, or to relieve. This is the great exhale. This is the inhale of receiving spirit. This is the great exhale of relieving your body from having to do everything all the time. So again, there's an important choice point here of surrender, and it's very important once you get to this side of the cycle. It's very important that you surrender. It's very important that you remember that in order to maintain your flow, you can't do it all by yourself. You have to rely in part on the magic of the universe, on spirit, on infinite intelligence to assist you, to restore you and your body back to order. This is where self-care comes in. People who get stuck in the body badlands don't take good care of themselves. So getting into restoration could be, taking yourself out on a date, taking yourself on a walk, giving yourself a reward for a job well done, taking a bath, playing with your kids. Anything that you can do that kind of relaxes the mind, right? Because in this vortex, the mind is not present. It's body and spirit working together. In this vortex up here of inspiration, the body is not present. It's just spirit and mind having a conversation. And in manifestation, it's mind and body getting together and actually bringing something forth into the world. So restoration requires you to rest your mind and just allow your body and spirit to kind of get together and to refresh you and renew you. Energetic work can also be really important here. Maybe you want to do some breath work, do some meditation is fantastic for getting into the restoration vortex and moving the cycle along. Then the other threshold to get back to spirit is to believe. Now, to return back to spirit, you have to be able to believe that it's possible that this cycle can continue. Again, we get stuck in the body because we think we have to be doing all the time in order to bring things into fruition. But that's only a third of the equation, or half of it if you want to look at it that way. The larger part of it involves resting and moving into surrender. So again, remember these surrender choice points. You have to surrender in order to move into the next cycle. So that's basically it. I mean, I can go into depth, and I will in other accompanying videos. Let me just kind of move this closer to you so you can see it. But essentially, what you need to look at when you are feeling stuck is where you're getting stuck. Again, for example, if you're feeling like you're stuck in the mind, this is where I have all these ideas and I don't know what to do about them. Or you think a lot, but you don't actually put into action. In that case, if you're stuck here, what you need to do is, again, we're moving this way, right? You need to do is move into manifestation by introducing the body. This could be that you, physically move yourself. I mean, if you're really stuck in the mind, exercise is great for getting out of your head and getting into your body. Grounding is really important here. The other thing that you need to do is literally get up and start moving on your goal. If you have this great idea for a story, but you never put it to paper, what use are you to the universe? Your gift to yourself and to the world is to write, or is to paint, or is to bring whatever that spirit's giving you and manifest it into the physical. So you have to literally just move. Pick up a paintbrush, pick up your pen and paper, write something down, bring something into fruition. The other place people get stuck is, again, in the body, with doing all the time. And if you're doing all the time, what you're missing is, what you're missing is spirit. So you've got mind and body and manifestation, but you're missing spirit. So in that case, you need to surrender a little bit. You can't figure everything out on your own. You can't do it all on your own. And so you need to relieve yourself, to move into restoration so that you can start relaxing. Chances are, if you're stuck in the body, you've already done quite a lot, and you're not allowing yourself the relief of, or the belief that if you relax, everything will be okay. So with that, again, they're going to move into some self-care, some healing work through meditation or breath work or something like that to keep it flowing. If you get stuck in spirit, this is a little bit rarer, but for some of you it might happen. If you get stuck in spirit, well, what I like to call these, there's little characters that these are. What do they call them? If you're stuck in the mind, Badlands, I akin that to the tortured artist mindset. If you're stuck in the body, Badlands, that to me is the overachiever. If you're stuck in the spirit, Badlands, that to me is the space cadet, where you're just, everything's a dream and you don't really engage with the physical world. You it's similar to the mind where you're sort of just in your head, but you're not in your head in a logical way. You're in your head in a very fantastical, imaginative way, but not in a good way, because nothing ever actually gets done, and you don't ever actually feel comfortable in your body or in your place here in the world. So people who get stuck in spirit both don't do anything or do anything with the body, and they also don't allow themselves to receive and perceive. So you might be out here if you're like, if you were like super into drugs or something, might be somebody who's kind of captured up here and is spaced out all the time and not really recognizing themselves as the vessel through which spirit has to work. So if that's the case, you know that you need to inject some mind and body into your life by getting really grounded. That's going to be super important for you if you're stuck in spirit, is getting grounded, going out in nature, spending time getting to know you and accepting your body. And then also for mind, there could be some blocks here to receiving and perceiving, in that you might not see how it's possible to put these fantastic ideas and imaginative worlds going on in your mind into practical use in any way. So yeah, there you have it. That's the cycle of creative flow that was given to me by Spirit long ago, and it is now really the vessel by which I can quickly identify where I'm out of touch and what I need to do to move into one of these energy vortexes and keep moving. That's the thing, right? You don't want to get stuck in manifestation. You don't want to get stuck in restoration. You don't want to get stuck anywhere. You want to just always keep it flowing. And that's where you have all three elements in the center constantly working together. You'll never run out of inspiration if you know how to rest your body and receive from Spirit. You'll never run out of, you'll always be able to manifest what you want in life if you introduce your body into the equation and break down these walls here that keep you from believing that it's possible. And you'll never, get stuck out there in the ether, spaced out, because you'll realize the value and the gift of being human and being capable of bringing divine inspiration into the physical realm, because it is a gift. It's a gift for both yourself, and it's a gift for the rest of humanity. So there you have it. That's the cycle of creative flow, and I really hope that you enjoyed this video and that it taught you something new. I will be doing a series of related videos related to the cycle, because kind of expanding on some of the concepts and some of the tools you can use to keep yourself moving constantly through it. But that really has been a guiding light for me, and I really hope that it helps you as well. Once again, if you liked this video, please hit that like button and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you feel like you're stuck somewhere in this cycle, maybe share that and see if others in the community can support you. I'd love to talk to you and have a conversation about this. And also, if you want to receive more content like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you'll see when I post new videos. Otherwise, YouTube won't necessarily show it on your recommended videos, even if you're a subscriber. So be sure to hit the bell. And then follow me over on Instagram, because I do talk about things similar to this and also share inspiring messages related to creativity there. And that's at awaken.creators. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all keep creating and change the world with your joy. Namaste.